r/ask Reddit. What's a horrifying fact a person could have lived happily not knowing? Because of the cellular makeup of our eyes, we see better in low contrast light in the periphery of our vision. The way the cells work means they have a much lower activation. So in the dark or between very minute monochromatic differences, you will see better out of the corner of your eye than your central vision, which is more geared to complexity and color. So with that in mind, theoretically, if there was something you could make out in the corner of your eye but not visible when you look directly at it, it could really be there. Whilst this is true, please be sensible with this knowledge and remember our brains are hardwired to freak us out and pad out our senses. The vast majority of weird creepy things we see hear/feel are partially made up by our brains, and the things which aren't are nihilistically uninterested in us. From Wikipedia, chick culling is the process of killing newly hatched chicks for which the intensive animal farming industry has no use. It occurs in all industrialized egg production, whether free range, organic, or battery cage, including that of the UK and US. Because male chickens do not lay eggs and only those on breeding programs are required to fertilize eggs, they are considered redundant to the egg-laying industries and are usually killed shortly after being sexed, which occurs after they hatch. Many methods of culling do not involve anesthetics and include cervical dislocation, asphyxiation by carbon dioxide, and maceration using a high-speed grinder. Asphyxiation is the primary method in the United Kingdom. 2. While maceration is the primary method in the United States. 3. By 2020, US producers expect to sex the eggs before they hatch, so male eggs can be culled. 3. There are some diseases caused by prions, a type of infectious protein, for which there is no known cure. Prions accumulate in your brain and damage your nerve cells irreversibly, leading to seizures, loss of memory and speech, blindness, changes in personality and loss of mobility. They kill off brain cells and create little holes in your brain. Once symptoms start showing, most people die within a year. Some people are believed to have been infected by eating infected meat. Edit. To correct fact. Brain matter smells sweet. Can confirm. Smells like rotting fruit. When you pick up a severed head, always be sure to use 2 hands. This is because the weight of said head isn't perfectly distributed like it is with a bowling ball and therefore has a tendency to topple from one's hands if not handled correctly. If you die in the house and no one is around to feed your pets, they start with your squishy parts, lips, eyes, ears and nose. That's comforting that they won't starve. You could have an aneurysm in your brain right now waiting to explode and you'd never know. Your aorta can do the same thing if it's enlarged. In 90% plus of cases, the first sign of an enlarged aorta is that it ruptures and you die almost immediately. Eyelash mites are real, and it's highly likely that you're hosting a colony of them right now. If so, they are covered with mascara. A shark's vagina and ass are the same hole. Tastibuds. In our intestines, we have them. There is a very high chance aliens could be far more technologically advanced than us and we would be facing extinction if they found us. And yet, we are trying to find them. Diamond dust is a horrifying poison. When ingested, your body is unable to round off the sharp edges like it can with glass. It will cling to your insides. The muscle movements of your guts will scrape your insides. The dust particles will get pushed deeper and deeper until you die of internal bleeding. It takes months to die of this and you will be in immense pain. Once inside of you, there's nothing that can be done anymore. =. Please someone prove me wrong. I would gladly accept this as just being a myth. Quite a lot of people who try to end their lives by jumping in front of a subway survive. Well, that makes sense considering you can't be run over by a sandwich shop. Dogs like squeaky toys because they mimic the dying cries of their prey. Does the same reasoning apply to children as well? If you're exposed to rabies, you will have absolutely no symptoms for months. Potentially, as soon as you start showing symptoms, you are going to die. There is nothing that can be done for you. When you go swimming in a lake or any untreated body of fresh water that does not have steady water flow, there is a small chance you will inhale an amoeba that will subsequently eat your brain and you will almost certainly die within the week. This was told to me by a relative that works as a funeral director. Some parts of your body might start decaying a few days before you die. I can definitely confirm. I am a hospice nurse and I also did end-of-life care with geriatric patients for many years. You always recognize the smell and it never changes. A full-grown raccoon can fit inside your ass. I know it can. What about yours? Hundreds of toddlers in the US die every year from falling into septic pits and drowning. When I was 5 we used to go over to my mom's friend's house and there were these massive rednecks in this old ass house where the septic was broken and would run across the yard like a small creek between these two cement things with holes in the top. Anyway, her oldest daughter was about 8 and dropped her homework paper in it. I reached to grab it and fell right in. I have full memory of it. The hosing off and everything. The sun could have exploded 5 minutes ago, and we wouldn't know until 3 minutes time. There's no certainty that the universe will not end in the next 10 seconds. Statistically speaking, somebody you know personally and interact with on a daily basis is a pedophile. You are about 120x more likely to be killed by an immediate family member if you win the lottery. So if I win the lottery I'll just have to kill all of my immediate family then. Watching One Man One Jar and knowing that someone really did it. At some point in your life your parents picked you up, gave you a hug and set you down never to pick you up again. When tarsiers, one of the smallest primates, gets too stressed, they commit suicide by repeatedly banging their head against a tree. Today I learned I'm a very big tarsier. You might have been born in a sea of semi-liquid diarrhea. Female spotted hyenas grow a pseudopenis which is just a giant clitoris which they use to assert dominance, dog style. When the time comes to give birth, their birth canal goes through that giant clitoris because God is a hateful bastard. Squirrels sometimes feed off of animal carcasses. Over 80 million types of bacteria can be exchanged in one kiss. There's a type of frog that can squirt blood from its eyes. Some animals, notably Tasmanian devils, have a cancer that can spread between the species through bodily fluid contact. Imagine that in humans. Edit. Accidentally wrote people instead of the species. Due to how your perception of time changes as you age, assuming you live a long life and for of old age, you've lived half your perceived lifespan by age 25. Male otters are extremely sexually violent and aggressive. A significant number of female otters, otter pups, and baby seals, yes, baby seals, die from the trauma caused by, often forced, sexual encounters with male otters. Causes of death include, but are not limited to, drowning, internal perforation, and biting. At all times, we could be surrounded by fourth-dimensional beings, but we just can't see or detect them in any way because we live in the third dimension. They could be observing and studying us at this very moment, and perhaps the reason why we haven't found any aliens yet is because they are fourth-dimensional beings. When a brown recluse spider bites you, your skin will often start to rot around the bite. Demodex folliculorum is a tiny insect that feeds on dead skin cells and oil. You probably have a couple dozen living in and on your eyelashes right now. Every 60 seconds in Africa a minute passes. There are billion of small mites, bacteria and dead cells on each inch of your skin, and you can't do anything to remove them. They'll always be here, just living their lives. They eat dead skin, bacteria, dirt. When a Brazilian wandering spider bites a male, it can deliver long, painful erections lasting hours on end. Edit. I know they are deadly, but yes, this can happen before death. There is a black hole about 40,000 times bigger than the sun. There is a parasitic wasp that lays its eggs in a caterpillar. The larvae instinctively eat the innards of the victim without damaging vital organs till they burst free. That I shit in the trash can. That a toothbrush left uncovered or not in a cabinet can accrue as many germs as a toilet, and a flushed toilet with the lid up releases germs into the air up to 15 feet. Rather than impregnating female bedbugs by more traditional routes, a male bedbug will puncture the abdomen of the female bedbug with their penis. But how do they know they're puncturing a female and not a male? They don't. They often puncture and inseminate a male bedbug's abdomen. If you can't find a hole, make one. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content. Moite. It's free and that's a great price.